what you're worth. Now go out and get what you're worth.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's we're playing the greatest radio show. Jim Cella and Johnny Parlay with the facts. So relax, grab a drink, then let's get back.
Well, I've never been happier to be wrong in my life. Welcome back, Pittsburgh. I am Jim Cella, and you are listening to The Spread. I'm sitting here with Dash today. How you doing?
All right, big day for Pittsburgh yesterday.
Huge.
Pirates win. They
Huge.
take the series versus the Brewers, and a big win for the Steelers. Go 5-1 all time against Carolina now, 2-1 on the season. Things are looking up.
Yeah, man, I definitely didn't see that Steeler game coming. For once in my life, I will say I had a feeling the Pirates would win more than the Steelers. And I think that's blasphemy in my life.
Well, now the outlook's totally different for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were thinking 1-2, and this season could be going down the drains fast, but now they're 2-1, and Tampa Bay's coming to town next week, so they could easily go to 3-1.
Yeah, they got 4, I don't want to call any NFL game easy, but, on paper, these games look like they should be easy. The Steelers, I mean, if they go to 6-1, Cincinnati's the only chance I think that has to keep up with them in the division.
Yeah, but this Carolina game, I'm not so sure the Steelers won it as much as Carolina lost it early.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. The Steelers looked kind of horrible, actually, in the first half.
I mean, they did show positive signs, though. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, he may be...
He's the best back in football.
He may be the best back in football.
Oh,
I mean,
is.
there's LaShawn McCoy, too. And don't forget about that kid beater, Adrian Peterson.
Well, he's out of the league now. He's never going to play again.
Okay, he doesn't count. Well,
Yeah.
I'd still give it to McCoy, but let me tell you, Le'Veon Bell's right behind him.
All right, well, then you got to at least say Bell's the best back in the AFC, ahead of Jamal Charles.
Definitely the best back in the AFC. And you know what? I might say Antonio Brown might be the best receiver in the AFC.
Yeah, which is crazy to think because I don't want to take anything away from Brown because like you said, he's the best receiver in the AFC by far, but he doesn't do anything great, but he does everything good.
Hey,
everything.
I mean, look, he just tied a record yesterday with 5 catches or more and 50-plus yards in 19 straight games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what more can you ask for from him?
The guy goes over the middle. He goes deep. He makes tough third down catches. He plays special teams. He's a game breaker back there on punt returns. I mean, is there anything that this guy does bad? Is there any? He blocks well. I mean, honestly, there's not one part of his game that is bad.
Yeah, I love him, but Todd Haley, he still doesn't impress me.
No. Todd Haley's offense almost lost us that game. Carolina kind of handed us that game in the third quarter. What was up with all these screen passes in the first half?
Well, I don't know. Our preview, we were talking about we wanted to see a couple more screen passes, get people open in the open field, you know what I mean? But I don't know if he listened to the show or what, because that's all he did.
I think Todd Haley follows us on Twitter.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But I'm not giving too much credit to the offense right now. I mean, they punted on their first 2 possessions, and then they had a 42-yard or Carolina had a 42-yard pass interference, and they only got a field goal out of that. And then it happened again. They got a 19-yard pass interference to put them in field goal range, but then DeCastro had that stupid unnecessary roughness to push them back, and then all they got was another field goal.
Yeah, I don't know. The Steelers, like we said, too many screen passes in the first half, running the ball almost every first down. Okay, I want to run the ball. I want to be consistent, but you got to mix it up with your play calls. You don't run the ball every single time on first down. The offense did nothing. Carolina's offense, they moved the ball, I think, kind of well.
I think their offense looked pretty good.
They just couldn't get it in the end zone. You know, the Steelers did a good job of tightening down when they got closer to the red zone and keeping them out.
Yeah, really, the Steelers' defense did a complete 180 from earlier in the season.
Oh, I know. That was not the same Steelers defense we've seen through the first 2 games. They were flying to the ball. They were making tackles. They learned how to tackle somehow in 1 week.
That's the biggest thing, the tackles. They couldn't tackle the first 2 weeks of the season, but all of a sudden you make tackles and look what happens. Your defense doesn't let up 30 points a game.
They put pressure on Newton early, too. They may not have sacked him a lot of times. I think they had, 3 sacks in the game.
Yeah.
But they hit him 6 times. They hurried him a bunch of other times. He was limping early in the game. You noticed it. He was wincing in pain. So that ankle from the offseason, that surgery, is obviously still bothering him. I don't think he's 100%.
Well, that was definitely big, hitting him early in the game and getting him hurt. If it had been healthy all game, the game might have turned out a little different. But, I mean, they had a strong pass rush all game. They made tackles. They forced turnovers. And Carolina came into the week as the best team in the league with turnover differential.
Yeah, or +6, I think they were.
Yeah.
And, in the first half, though, the thing that worries me is the Steelers took too many penalties. I forget the exact number for the whole game.
I think it was 10.
10 penalties for the whole game, which is ridiculous.
At least by the time they put in backup quarterbacks, it was 10, I believe.
And, and I understand that the NFL is cracking down on more pass interference plays and holding and all that, but this is just getting out of hand. People were complaining that baseball's taking a long time. What are they going to do if they keep calling this many penalties in every NFL game?
I don't think every team's committing as many penalties as the Steelers, though. I mean, this is going to come back to bite the Steelers if they have 9-10 penalties every game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no way you can go through a game the way they did and play as poorly as they did in the first half and still win more than 1 or 2 times a year.
But really, their defense looked great yesterday. I'm so happy with it. But then in the end, look what happens. 3 huge injuries.
Oh, my God. That Ike Taylor injury was gruesome. I felt so bad for Ike, man. He got blasted in the forearm.
I really thought it was worse than it really was, I guess, because he was back on the sidelines later in the game, so it couldn't have been that bad. If it was like shattered or something, he'd have been in the hospital, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if it was shattered, there definitely would have been some kind of, internal bleeding or nerve damage or something going on, so they definitely would have had to get him to the hospital ASAP.
But I guess you were saying something, he's going on the IR and he could come back later this season?
Yeah, early reports have him going on the IR, injury designation, or whatever they call that new short-term IR, so they can come back after 8 games.
Yeah.
The Steelers are hoping that they can keep their march towards the playoffs going, and, About That Life can come back and help them, because let's face it, what do we have behind them?
Huh.
Nothing.
I didn't even think we had much with him, so without him, I mean, it's only getting worse. I mean,
really
he's not great, but if you lose him, you get worse. You can't get better by losing him.
Right, yeah. Anytime you lose a starter with nobody to come in and play, and now
Willie Gay looked okay when he came in, but
Cortez Allen, I mean,
Ike Taylor's a better football player.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
definitely.
But then we had Jarvis Jones and Shazier go down too. Two of our stud supposed to be stud linebackers.
That injury to Shazier was scary. You've seen Timmons fall back on him. I think Timmons fell back on him and hurt Ike Taylor. So Timmons is beating up our D. He's pulling a David DeCastro over here.
Yeah, and Shazier, I'm hearing sprained MCL for him.
Sprained MCL, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to hit Brandon up this week and see what he's doing and get him to talk about some of these injuries. Let us further understand what it means to really sprain your MCL and how it affects your game.
And what did Jarvis Jones have? He might have wrist surgery now.
Yeah, they just keep saying wrist injury. They're being a little vague about this, which is surprising with the NFL. You really are supposed to disclose all information when it comes to injuries. They just keep saying wrist injury, possible wrist surgery. So if he has to have surgery, that pretty much puts him out for the rest of the year, which is really sad. They were hoping he was going to be able to come in his second year and really make an impact on the Dick LeBeau defense.
Well, he did have one big splash play when he had that sack force fumble. But I don't even think he's seen it happening. He was being held on the play. He was looking
the defense,
down.
They got to the quarterback, often. Like we said earlier, it was really impressive to see them fly into the football. They looked like they wanted to play football again last night. The Baltimore game, it looks like they were forced to play football. Somebody made them go out there, like it was actually work. This week, man, they looked like they were having some fun out there. And even with those injuries to Ike and Shazier and Jones, I thought Sean Spence came in and played pretty well, and so did Arthur Moats.
Well, Arthur Moats was one of the guys that had a sack, so yeah, he definitely looked great, and he had a tackle for a loss too, I believe. And then, but Carolina, they're the one that blew this game. I mean,
definitely.
Look at that punt. There was a muff punt.
Punt.
But Shamarko Thomas, there's another splash play. Get him in on the defense already.
Yeah, he definitely is a big playmaker on the special teams. He came in there like a bat out of hell and drilled that dude and popped that ball loose.
Yeah, and then the big run by Le'Veon Bell. Biggest run for the Steelers.
81 yards.
Since, I think it was 1970,
yeah.
Frenchie Fuqua.
Frenchie Fuqua. He had some nice shoes, that Frenchie Fuqua.
Frenchie Fuqua. You gotta love the name Frenchie.
Yeah, nobody has a good name like that in football anymore. Ocho Cinco. What is that all about?
Ocho
It
Cinco.
didn't even really mean 85. It meant 8-5.
What's he doing now? Playing soccer or something?
I don't know. I think he got cut from the CFL.
Oh, he was in the CFL. That's right.
Maybe Vince McMahon will start another league and he can go there.
But anyway, after the game was already over, LeGarrette Blount took over the game.
Oh, he dominated. He ran that defender over on his way to the end zone. We haven't seen a run like that since Jerome Bettis in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, what do you have? 10 carries for what?
118 yards.
118 yards.
Yeah.
He had a
51
51-yard run. Yeah.
I didn't think the big guy could run that fast. Honestly, he's pretty fleet of foot for a guy that big.
I have to see it again, though. Like I said, Carolina was already beat by that time.
Oh, yeah.
They've given up by that point.
They were gassed. They knew the game was over, but that didn't stop Blount from running hard. He lowered his shoulder. You know, he kept his base square, and he ran through defenders.
The game was over as soon as that muff punt to fumbled punt to touchdown
Whatever it was,
happened.
yeah, touchdown.
Because, I mean, at that point it was 23-13, and Carolina was getting the ball back, and then all of a sudden it was 30-13, and then that was the game.
Yeah, that pretty much sealed the deal. After that, you seen Carolina's players, they just kind of looked defeated. You know, you seen them on the sidelines. They had their heads down, their hands on their hips. They really had nothing left in the tank in that fourth quarter.
Really, the thing to take away from this game, I think, is don't be sold on the Steelers' offense yet. They really didn't put together
A complete game.
a complete drive, really. They didn't even drive down the field and score a touchdown. I mean,
the two passing plays Ben had to Brown, I thought were nice plays. They definitely had a couple splash plays in the game, and they had some nice, execution, but they never put together a real solid 2-3 drives in a row. Like,
I mean, even that 81-yard run by Bell, they scored a touchdown on that drive, but it was actually fourth down, and they were ready to kick a field goal, and Carolina jumped off sides.
And just gave us a touchdown there.
So, I mean, they gave us a touchdown there. So,
the
Todd Haley,
consistency
I
is
still don't
not
like
there.
you.
Right. The talent is there. The potential is there. We all see it. But they need to go out and do it consistently to make it work and for this team to have any chance to compete for any real spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, just keep giving the ball to Le'Veon Bell. And look what happens when you throw the ball to Heath Miller. He came up with a few big plays.
Yeah, everything we said in our preview happened. Luke Kuechly had a big game. They finally got the ball to Heath, and he moved around.
Greg Olsen looked good.
Le'Veon Bell played good.
Let me tell you, Kelvin Benjamin is a stud. 6'5", 240. They said this dude can't catch? Are you kidding me? This dude catches everything.
I'm glad you brought him up because the Steelers actually passed on him to be able to take Ryan Shazier, and I'm not saying it was a bad pick, but there was worries coming out of college that Benjamin dropped the ball a little bit too much and wasn't a great route runner. I don't think it matters, right now because he's just absolutely dominating. He's so big and strong that it doesn't matter what defender you put against him. He's almost like he could be like Megatron. I mean, he could be the next Calvin Johnson in this
I
league.
wish the Steelers would have drafted this guy, actually. It'd be our number 2 receiver, maybe Marcus Wheaton in the slot. Of course, we got to see what Lance Moore does. I know he's old, but
he only had, one play, I think, yesterday?
Yeah, he'll get more involved as the season goes along. He's coming back from injury or whatever, but I don't know. Steelers season looks pretty good right now.
You have some optimism. The game, it gave you some hope. Is it a tell-all for the team? Absolutely not. There's definitely still parts, the team that's struggling. Some of these key injuries could really come back to bite them. But it definitely gives you hope moving into these next 4 games. And let's face it, all you got to do is make the playoffs, and then anything can happen.
Yeah, there's a lot to be worried about with the injuries, and the offense still has to put it all together. But 2-1, Tampa coming in.
Tampa, this looks terrible, too.
Josh
McCown's out, so I think, this big win, this week, riding an emotional high, we're going to be able to go in and get another win against Tampa, and let's see if we can keep this ball rolling and get this team to 4, 5, and 6-1.
Yeah, I had them at 10-6. Now I'm looking at 11-5.
Yeah, you never know. Well, that wraps up our recap for today. I want to thank everybody for listening. The spread is brought to you by Mochar Plumbing. 724-961-1939. That number again is 724-961-1939. There is no problem too big or too small for Mochar. He helps me out all the time when I need it.
Gotta love Mochar's Plumbing. I already called him a couple weeks ago to fix my plumbing.
See, that's it. He's on time, too. You get those plumbers to tell you they're going to be
Oh,
there.
yeah, great deal, on time, good person. You can't beat the service.
Can't beat it. You can follow the show on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Check out our Facebook page, The Spread, and our YouTube page. And everybody have a good day.
Go Steelers.
Believe it.